filmmaking is all about movement, and sometimes handheld just isn't enough. This is where the new SmallRig Hawklock shoulder rig comes into play. A rig designed for quick deployment, extra stability, and full modularity. So today, I'm taking it out into the real world, a sunrise fish market in Bali, to see if it holds up in an environment where things just don't stop moving. Alright, so we're right here and we're using the Sony FX6. It's already mounted on the camera plate that comes with the SmallRig shoulder rig, and we're using vintage glass, which means that Sony FX6 has zero stabilization when it comes to any manual lenses, which is something that I don't like personally. But anyways, if you use any out of focus lenses, you will have stabilization, but with manual lenses, you won't. So this is why this comes into place, because you need an extra tool to stabilize it. So let's set up the whole rig, which will take probably like a minute, and then we're ready to shoot. Okay, so now this is kind of the rig that I want to run, which is Sony FX6, and I'm gonna hold it like this and focus in and out using the SmallRig focus hand. I find that this way you can use this rig a lot easier and a lot nicer, so add extra stabilization. And if you want to move from here to shoulder rig, it's literally 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you're pretty much ready to go. And then you can extend these, you can extend these, and make it comfortable. So shoulder rigs, some of us use them, some of us just seen them before, but never actually tried them. One thing for sure, it's when you see one of these guys, it just looks very bulky, it looks very heavy, and it just feels like a tank on your shoulder, but not SmallRig. What they did here, it's actually insane. This folds down so small that you can literally carry it with you anywhere, and it's also very, very light. So today I'm breaking down everything you need to know about this new SmallRig Hawklock Pro shoulder rig, what I like, what I don't like, and who is this for. So let's not wasting time and let's get into it. So let's start with one of my favorite things about this rig, portability. This thing folds down crazy small. I'm in Bali, so I'm constantly on a bike, and most rigs forget about it. But this, I can literally slide under my seat, and when I need it, I quickly unfold it and I'm ready to go. If you're shooting run and gun documentary or any kind of client work, time is everything. You don't want to miss out on any shots. And with this, you won't, because literally from the time you take it out of your bag, you unfold it, you put your camera on, it might take up to 15 to 20 seconds if you're doing it slow. But also, sad reality, it doesn't matter if you're shooting on a Sony a7S III or an FX6 or whatever camera you're shooting, if you have one of these guys, you will definitely look a lot more professional to your clients. I know it's a sad reality, but bigger gear, even though the camera is still tiny, small with a tiny lens, makes a lot of difference in the way you look towards other people, especially to people that don't know anything about filmmaking. Now, stability is probably the only way why you would get a rig like this, especially when shooting with bigger cameras like Sony FX6. You have pretty much no IBIS unless you're shooting with autofocus lenses, and I'm shooting with vintage glass, which means no stabilization whatsoever. And if I'm shooting handheld with this thing, I can clearly see how many jitters I get. But this, either use it as a shoulder rig or just as a rig as I'm using it right now to stabilize. Doesn't matter how you use it, this will help smooth out your shots. So obviously this is advertised and it is a shoulder rig, but honestly, as you can see here, I haven't used it as a shoulder rig that often, mostly because the angle from my shoulder is not something I love personally, but also because this gives you such a big opportunity of stabilizing a camera like a Sony FX6 by having an extra, chest touching point so that whenever you move, your whole body move and you don't have that micro jitters. And I feel like having the possibility of switching in between these two modes within literally 5 seconds on set is insane. Okay, so now for example, I was shooting with shoulder rig mode because I wanted a bit of a, like a top-down look, but now I want to go more into the action. So simply spending maybe 10 seconds and turning the ring back into this, and now I can get more into details. Right, as you guys know, I'm always super transparent on this channel, and I want to be transparent on this video too. This is not a sponsored ad, they just sent me this rig to try out. To be honest, I'm not getting paid for this SmallRig, but I don't know if this is just the unit because it was probably a pre-production unit or something like that. But whenever I take my camera, in this case the FX6, and I try to slide it in with a camera plate, it gets stuck at the start. And I have to kind of like jiggle it a little bit, and then after a while eventually it slides in. This might just be my unit that is actually faulty. I actually reached out to SmallRig and asked for it, but I don't know. It's just something to keep in mind in case, you know, you get a unit and it's also like that. It's nothing crucial and it only happened maybe a few times. So maybe there was also something on my plate, I'm not sure. But I just wanted to point that out to show you guys that maybe that's something that you want to remember if you're getting one of these guys. And then another thing is that I'm not sure because actually the other shoulder rig I used, I had a monitor in a different position, but if I do mount the monitor like over here, and then I have the shoulder rig over here, it kind of loses balance a little bit too much. And also there's too many cables in the way. And if you're shooting with a wide lens like a 20 or 24, your monitor will be in the shot, which gets pretty annoying. And if you don't want to use a monitor, but just like an FX6 monitor, and as far as I can put it, it's kind of so close to my eye still that if I use it for a while, it just makes me kind of nauseous and I just feel weird. So again, I'm not sure if that's something normal because I don't regularly use shoulder rigs, but it's something to keep in mind. Definitely it would help if you have one of these viewfinders for video, like I've seen the Epifani do for their cameras, but yeah, just wanted to point that out as well. So who is this for? Honestly, because of the possibility of breaking this down into such a small package and so light, it's probably aimed at, you know, everyday run and gun cinematographers like us, but also at small production crews. I do think it's a great piece of gear, and I will definitely use it whenever I'm using a bigger cinema package, just to have that extra stabilization and just being able to put it against my chest and just, you know, just being able of having that extra stabilization. I think it's very important, especially with cameras that don't have IBIS or with lenses that are manual that you can't apply any IBIS. So with that said, will I use this for my Sony a7S III? I don't think I will, unless it's a very high paying client and I want to show off, but I might be getting a bigger camera soon. So when I do that, this will come in handy a lot. So thanks so much guys for sticking around. If you do want to check it out, there's a link down in the description, and I'll see you guys on the next video. The studio, by the way, it's complete. I'm working on a video right now. So yeah, very exciting stuff. All right, see you guys.